finally. So I want to do these gaming news type of streams from now on, because you guys liked last one I published on YouTube also, shorter videos, and one of the videos reached the second most viewed in the last 28 days. So that's why I want to do this. So I'll cover the most recent breaking news, gaming breaking news I see on the internet, and hopefully you guys like it, interact with the stream and the videos after in any way if you want me to make more of this. So I also like to talk about with friends back in the day when I was in middle school, a lot about games, so that's why I want to make this. So first, today is news about The Witcher 4 and CDPR. CDPR addresses, and let's go because we have lots of news to cover. CDPR addresses valid concerns over The Witcher 4 new protagonist. It was the natural evolution. Ciri has been playable in the past, but this is her first time serving as the main character in a Witcher title. It wasn't exactly a huge surprise when a trailer for the next installment of CD Projekt Red's Witcher series debuted at 2024 The Game Awards. Players have known The Witcher 4 was in the works for a while now. Also tell me if you like this white text on black background, because I think you can see it better. But one detail did catch some viewers off guard. The silver-haired Witcher featured in the new trailer wasn't the iconic Geralt of Rivia. It was his adoptive daughter Ciri. I think all is good if we have a familiar character to play with, like is nobody new. Like some people said that a custom Witcher will be cool, but I think it won't be that cool, at least for some people maybe, because we are not familiarized with that type of character. They should introduce or reintroduce a character that was in The Witcher 3 like they did with Ciri. Naturally, players took to the internet to share their thoughts, although CDPR doesn't care much for the opinions of players who are simply upset about the fact that the upcoming game's main character is both female and fully clothed. This is funny. Why it had to be naked or something. The devs do have a message for genuine fans of the franchise who say they are going to miss playing as Geralt. Maybe they do a DLC and they pull the information from the new book that was just released a few weeks ago, and we play as Geralt more in that DLC, maybe in the future, I don't know. Well, let's see this trailer too, because we don't see it on the channel.
Clearly a celebration, but the second character is purely...
Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Sebastian Kalemba and I'm the game director of The Witcher 4, our new game. And this is our official breakdown for the very first cinematic trailer
Let me shut down the window because lots of noise from outside.
of the game. So let's dive right into the trailer. The first sequence sets up the stage.
Dearest daughter, I've watched ye grow. From a devilishly curious child.
We have two characters, they are preparing for something. One character is preparing for some kind of a ritual, tradition, clearly a celebration. But the second character is purely preparing for the battle, for the encounter. Two
Ciri.
different characters, preparation, but a different set of tools. It looks like a wedding, maybe? But as you see, it's not festive at all, right? People are not laughing, people are not happy. This is Stromford. This village is totally isolated place up north. And, you know, the world of The Witcher is full of folk, full of grim, the darkness,
I really like that.
monsters.
I also really like this Polish traditional clothing.
The way they deal with monsters for ages is sacrificing their people. Here we reveal this young
This is so cool with the white and red.
girl. Her name is Mioni. She tends to be sacrificed by her father, by the villagers. That's why this moment is so emotional. These people are kinda saying goodbye to someone that they know from that young. Okay, so now these characters joins. Their path are going to cross in a second. You have two swords on her back, the silver.
I really like the trailer that it really puts you into that Polish vibe, traditional vibe, village kind of atmosphere from the, like maybe the medieval ages.
For monsters and steel for humans, you have idea for sure that this is a Witcher.
A Witcher? Witcher! Whose coin did ye take? Nay, you can't. 'Tis tradition. Chosen she is, by the gods.
No! You chose her.
Okay, you have no idea how long we've been waiting for this.
I also really like Ciri. She looks way darker. She looks way darker and grim. I think she fits more, but this isn't like an unpopular opinion. I think she fits more the setting, the dark setting. And well, this is a pre-rendered, I think, cinematic. So she looks, and the graphics are really detailed nowadays. She looks way more detailed. She looks great, I think, for her age. She must be in her 30s.
You chose her.
Okay, you have no idea how long we've been waiting for this moment. I mean, the entire team that invests so much passion.
I think, and we'll see later today, that she looks more Polish. When I'll compare her with a Polish girl, you can see later, than she looked in The Witcher 3.
Into this project in recent years. We've been waiting for years to be able to finally show Ciri as the main protagonist of the game. Ciri is one of these characters that, you know, the sentence that if there is less evil, lesser evil, I rather to not choose at all. Ciri will always choose. When it comes to the happiness, the moments that she was really happy about her life, it was in Kaer Morhen, among the other Witchers. For good and for bad, she wants to become a Witcher. In the word become, there is a journey, and I want people to experience this journey. As soon as we entered the woods, we decided to change the cinematography of this part, in that moment. We wanted to make it more magical, more atmospheric. We wanted to make you sense, smell the evil that is living in this cave. And maybe you can question why Ciri was actually waiting for this moment. She is a professional monster hunter, and she knows that using Mioni in that case was actually her advantage. She was, by pushing
That's a nice strategy.
Mioni into the woods and letting her sing the song that calls the evil.
And yeah, I like this a lot. We should have, I think, more options to kill monsters or lure monsters out or anything like that than The Witcher 3. I think that will be cool to have more replayability.
She's also at the same time luring the evil.
Now.
So there's this moment when she stops exactly when she knows that the evil woke up. That's the moment when Ciri pushes Mioni back to the village.
Run!
As soon as the fog appears, Ciri knows that there's point of no return. Ciri enters the heart of darkness. She hears these noises, the voices, some kind of a hallucinations. She's a bit puzzled, yeah? You see, like, she's not able to spot the monster. This is the way how this creature
I think we should have a lot of options to kill them in a good way or the best way to kill the monster, and we have to discover that by ourselves, or the worst way to kill the monster and we get more killed, if that makes sense. That will be cool, so we can strategize more when we kill some monster, or less, how we want. We should have this option, I think.
It tries to play with your fears. There's the moment of the opportunity that Ciri drinks a potion. This potion, it's not a regular potion. It's a poison witchers are capable to prepare. And she's becoming deadly focused here. There's no voices again, no fears. And this is the moment when she spots him, and this is the moment when the real duel starts. Finally, we are revealing Bau, the monster. Very powerful
And this is an ugly one.
creature in this world. And as you see, also we are showcasing something special about Ciri. Ciri is a powerful source. She can drain the energy out of the elements in this world and catalyze it
That's so
into
cool.
the very powerful spell. And that way, she builds another opportunity window, be able to chop
But-
his, and finally uses one of his utility tools, chain, we're presenting here. And we are also referring
That's so cool that we have like utility tools and more stuff to combine in the combat.
to very first trailer that we showcased years ago, the Witcher 1, Geralt fighting with Striga.
Oh, this is some old like stuff they brought from the first game.
Here we have the chain. More than that, Ciri
Hopefully they remake these first games, as I think they do right now. I heard somewhere.
is able to chant
The
this
internet.
chain And that's why there's this fire spell on top of it,
Yeah, combine it with spells, that will be cool also.
which makes this chain even stronger. And this is another tough lesson in this grim world. Ciri wasn't able to save Mioni because some people are incapable of change. One, because they let them.
In the first stream I said it will be cool if we can do bad choices, like gray area choices, good choices, and because of these choices we can make an impact, a different impact on the world, and the world changes with these choices, kinda like in Fable, if you know what I mean.
Themselves being still driven by the fear. She knows for sure that they'll get this at some point because the fog will never get back. They will probably remember her, the silver hair girl who saved them. And there's going to be a moment of change, but the time needs to come.
That's all we want. We're to go to the woods. To go to the gods.
Gods?
I mean, like, it will be cool if the world becomes darker, grimmer, and maybe you can join the monsters too, or it can become better with less monsters and stuff like that, and happier people, and like you can see exactly what changes you did, or kinda stay the same if you ignore some of this stuff.
There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
That's an angry face.
This world is dark, is grim, but there is a light. There is this warmth, there's this hope in the end. In this case, Mioni got killed by her people, but
Maybe there could be like a selfish option just to take this girl with you, or like save her, the good option, or let her be killed, like the bad option. Yeah, I love that to see in the game. How about you guys?
as you know our games, there are choices and consequences. There's going to be a way to save her.
Which is kind of
And this is the hope
sweet,
that the Witcher
like
world
beautiful.
brings also. That actually gives you this contrast between grim and hope. And this is what I love in this world.
That was cool. So I think we definitely knew it could be controversial for some people because, of course, in the previous 3 Witcher's game, Geralt was the protagonist, and I think everyone really loved playing as Geralt. Narrative director Philip Weber said in a recent interview, I really love playing as Geralt, so I think we are aware that if some people think right now that they would still prefer to be Geralt, I do think that's a legitimate concern. So this is where that concern about Ciri is coming from, that's valid. Of course, The Witcher 4 won't be the first time players step into Ciri's boots. The Witcher 3 saw players alternate between playing as Geralt and playing as Ciri, though Geralt was still the main focus of the game. This time around, it seems the story will be told primarily through Ciri's eyes. Ciri was already being set up as a second protagonist in the Andrei Sapkowski novels, and as the second playable character in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, so for us it was really the natural evolution of what we already been making for so long. Weber continued. Also, for people who really love Geralt, it lets us honor the ending that Geralt had in The Witcher 3 and Blood Wine. I think I'll avoid this because it's massive spoilers for me, if I can see it in the future text. Weber also added that the choice to make Ciri the game main playable protagonist wasn't one that was made lightly, nor was it made recently. The best thing that we can do, I think this is really our goal, is to prove that with Ciri we can do a lot of interesting things, so we can really make it worth it, because this decision to have Ciri as a protagonist wasn't made yesterday. We started making this choice a very long time ago, Weber explained. Yeah, we can maybe explore some optional ways in which to explore the world and the choices, like emotional ways, because Ciri as a female is more emotional than Geralt, or something like that. Like we can have on the moment decisions because of anger, or like how she did in the trailer, she was really angry at these people and maybe she killed them and stuff like that. That will be cool, but still have some thoughtful decisions, gray areas decisions like Geralt had. CDPR hasn't announced an official release date for The Witcher 4 and has yet to reveal which platforms the game will launch on, though the studio has, dating back to The Witcher 3 launch, games on both console and PC. For more info on the next entry in The Witcher franchise, check out everything we know about The Witcher 4. Okay.
So,
The truth about Ciri in Witcher 4, what the books really say. Also, subscribe to this guy and give a like. Already did in the first stream that was messed up because of my noise gate. gonna pick up my voice. So let's check this out.
The Witcher 4 has been revealed, and Ciri is officially our new protagonist. Not just Ciri though, but Ciri as a Witcher who somehow, after the events of Witcher 3, undertook the trial.
I think she looks more polished now than in the third game. What do you think? I'm right or I'm wrong?
Trial of the Grasses, which, if you don't remember, is the brutal week-long process where children, often orphans, were forcibly administered viruses, herbs, mutagens, and potions that mutated them into Witchers. 60 to 70% of those subjected to the trial died, and even then, only a fraction of the children who did survive actually became Witchers and received their medallions, because many of the other trial survivors lost their minds from the pain, or
Which child dies or goes insane, stuff full of narcotics.
were otherwise crippled during the process. This trial, though, is what Ciri went through to go from the optimistic, very non-traditional Witcheress who hadn't undergone the mutations at the end of Witcher 3, to the hardened, cat-eyed Cirilla we're reintroduced to in the Witcher 4 trailer. Now, that trailer has understandably led to a lot of questions, especially if you care at all about the lore, and those questions have mostly been getting responded to with, well, to be nice, I'll just say inaccurate answers. So, I really felt like this was a video I needed to make, that this was a video worth making. If you know me, you know I love The Witcher, and I just want to get the facts out there. What do the books, and while we're at it, CDPR's previous games,
Let's see.
actually say about female Witchers, and about Ciri potentially becoming one? First, though, I want to put this out there. I love Ciri, and almost more importantly, I'm very, very happy to be continuing in the Witcher world post-Witcher 3. It opens up a ton of possibilities I can't wait to talk about. That's not the purpose of this video though, so to get to the point, if you're anything more than a very casual Witcher fan, you've probably been seeing people say things like, the books say only boys can become Witchers, and Ciri surviving the Witcher trials makes no sense at all. And you may...
Well, I think the books, not including, I didn't read all of them, only a few hundred pages of the first book. But as I see from this video, is the book never say that the woman cannot become Witchers. They never mention like girl Witchers, woman Witchers, but they never say, oh, girls cannot become Witchers, even if there is a really small chance. So yeah, we should separate these facts.
maybe have also seen people saying the opposite
If that's the actual thing is right in the books. I'm only saying this because of this video. I never read the whole books.
sort of thing. That there are
Never
already
read,
female
never read all the books, which I will do in the future.
Witchers in canon, or that the cat school is known to have created girl Witchers.
School of the Cat, what? For example, went against the common dogma and accepted female students. Okay. Let's see the arguments. This is a pro one for Ciri becoming a Witcher.
I'll address that second
The second one was the one I said earlier.
type of claim first, which will be really easy because
And the third one, which is a strong agreement, I think, is because Ciri is not a common woman. She's really strong. She has really big magical potency, strong magical potency. So she will have strong chances to withstand the trial, maybe.
they're not true, with no gray area. Ciri aside, let me stress that part, Ciri aside, there are 0 female Witchers currently in game canon or canon, meaning the books. Nowhere in any of the 9 novels is a female Witcher ever mentioned, even in passing, and the same is true of the first 3 games. When people say that the School of the Cat trained female Witchers, or that for another example that there was a woman named Dragonfly who became a Witcher, they're doing that because they quickly googled female Witcher, then read the Witcher wiki and didn't realize the source for the wiki
They are apparently one of the few schools training women.
is a pen and paper game that was released as a tie-in for a very low budget 2001 Witcher TV show.
Okay, so the source is wrong, and they got a bad source to write the wiki page, I guess.
A show that, by the way, the book author reviewed with one word, that word being obscene. The word obscene
Okay, so the author disapproved of it.
also reminds me of another more recent TV
So this goes against Ciri becoming a Witcher.
Witcher adaptation as well, but, well, I suppose this isn't the time. To start shifting to the other perspective, though, despite what you may have heard people confidently claim, the books never, and I mean never, say that there can't be female Witchers, or that a girl surviving the Trial of the Grasses is impossible, or that the survival rate was 0%. Nothing like that is ever said.
Exactly what I said.
However, when Ciri is taken to Kaer Morhen as a child during the books, Lambert does say that a girl had never trained there before. And when Witchers or their training get discussed in the books, the phrasing is often something like, for example, a quote from Geralt here, "The trial of the grasses is dreadful, and what is done to boys during the time of the changes is even worse. Or for another example, this is a dryad named Ethne speaking to Geralt. After all, you Witchers have been seeking boys designated by fate to be your successors.
I think Ciri is in her own category because she's not a normal boy, like a common boy, and she's not a common woman to try the trial of the grasses on. So all these statistics doesn't apply to her because all these common boys and common girls, they don't have what she has, like strong magical potency, and maybe they are not this fit, trained to become witchers. They are not at her level right now after she was trained by Geralt.
In the books, it's not that a girl couldn't survive the trials or that it's impossible, it's that they just don't try. They seek out boys for the profession, and that sort of gendered talk, or whatever you want to call it, carries forward all the way into Witcher 3.
That's just it. Not everyone made it. Lots of boys died here. Boys taken against their will.
I do want to point out, though, that in very recent post-Witcher 3 years, CDPR have kind of been laying the groundwork for female Witchers in other Witcher media. It's just gone unnoticed because, well, it's Witcher media that only a very small percentage engage with. For example, just a couple years ago, CDPR released a single-player Gwent game called Rogue Mage, which had a little story about the creation of the first Witchers by the mage Alzur. In that story, CDPR established that for the game canon at least, Alzur did experiment on a woman when attempting to create the first Witcher. But instead of at least somewhat taking to his experiments like all of his male subjects, the woman just died.
This fruitless attempt was the
Exactly, this doesn't say anything, like exactly what I said before. This common woman trying the trial of grasses doesn't say anything. He's not in the same category as Ciri.
ingrained in the
Doesn't prove anything.
age a prejudice that he would never shake. And from that day onward, of the many subjects exposed to his experiments, only a handful would be female.
Now, this does establish that even after the first woman's death, Alzur did give other women Witcher mutations, but just that it was a rare occurrence, only a handful of cases from that point forward, apparently. Ultimately, Alzur's first success with a Witcher did end up being a male human child, which then became the default base for a Witcher moving forward. Also worth mentioning is that in the current Witcher tabletop game, which is officially licensed and overseen by CDPR, it was again established that during Alzur's later experiments, which were done in groups, the girls he did include became ill much more quickly than the boys, and that they ultimately fared much worse during the later parts of the trial. Again, it's never
Still
said
doesn't
that
say
every
shit.
single one died or that it was never attempted again post-Alzur, just that most girls didn't take to the
It
mutations
doesn't prove anything
particularly
about Ciri.
well, and certainly not as well as boys. Okay, to move on, I want to get to Ciri specifically, because she is an interesting exception in many ways, and I
Yeah.
would almost argue that Ciri as a Witcher is a different topic entirely from the idea of female Witchers in general. Before we get there though, I do need to take a quick second to thank the incredibly well-timed sponsor for today's video, which is the brand new Witcher 3 Naraka Bladepoint update. If you don't know, Naraka Bladepoint is a very popular free-to-play battle royale. It's set apart by being
Never
very
tried it.
melee-focused with a grappling hook for
Damn,
mobility.
it looks good.
And just this month, Naraka Bladepoint collaborated with CD Projekt to bring a ton of Witcher content into their game. When they reached
Why it looks exactly like a Ciri
out to
setting.
me, I thought this was just going to be a small update with like a Geralt skin or something, but no.
He looks a bit female though. The face.
They've brought not only Geralt into Naraka, but also Yennefer, Triss, and Ciri,
Damn, the models look really great.
all with voice lines
Like the Witcher 3 models being in a Witcher 4 game.
from the original
They really look detailed and with today's graphics.
actors and a ton of cool Witcher 3 cosmetics to
Upscaled,
unlock.
maybe.
Like Erendite from Blood and Wine,
Damn, look at this. Look at the sword.
unlock. Like Erendite
Damn, I love this writing here. The symbols, the runes.
from Blood and Wine, the Caretaker Spade and Donkey Ears from Hearts of Stone, and even Yennefer's stuffed unicorn, which can now be
He
used
looks a bit Asian though, the face. Don't you think?
by whichever characters you like, even Triss, which feels, well, not quite right. Anyway, if interested, you can try out Geralt in Naraka Bladepoint for free. Just use the
Other than the jumping part, the setting and the sword fighting looks exactly like it's a Witcher game. Like it's Witcher 4 or something.
link in the description
That's crazy.
and you'll receive a free in-game voucher. And if you end up unlocking all 4 Witcher 3 outfits during the Witcher 3 event that's currently running, you'll also be able to redeem 2100 in-game gold, meaning you'll be getting 3 of the outfits for the cost of just 1. Okay, to get back to Ciri and why she's such an exception, or even nearly a separate topic entirely from the could there be female witchers question, well, it's because in the books, Ciri is a very unique case, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
She travels to Kaer Morhen under very unusual circumstances, and while there, she goes through full Witcher combat training for well over a year, with 5 Witchers guiding her. Not only that, and this is something that is often forgotten, but while at Kaer Morhen, the Witchers feed Ciri special accelerant mushrooms and urban fusions that help her develop her strength and agility. They're the very same accelerants that all Witcher students take before going through with the actual Witcher mutations, and when Triss meets Ciri at Kaer Morhen, still during her training, Triss immediately notices.
And if you think like this, what these accelerants maybe can do to her blood, with her strong blood, maybe even more than they used to on normal boys, on common boys. That's a possibility, I think.
That Ciri had already developed the internal fitness of a Witcher.
If Sarah fights a mountain plant unknown to science, giving her the famous infusions of her mysterious herbs, to
the
drink.
help of the mushrooms they'd been feeding her. Eventually, Triss even asks the Witchers to stop giving her them so often because she fears they might have side effects. Not as grave side effects as what the trial might do to Ciri, aka possibly kill her, but still side effects. All that is to say, if there was going to be a female Witcher, it should be Ciri. She's already received the training, she's already been...
Of course, she has the most chances to be one.
...enhanced to an extent, and even in the books, Ciri is referred to as being a Witcher many times by other characters, which, again, is something that from her literal journal entry to constant dialogue, carries forward into Witcher 3.
Look, that's more or less what she looks like now.
I think there are high chances for her to become a Witcher.
Or so our agents claim. Our little witch has grown into a young lady.
No, there's really no problem at all with Ciri being a Witcher, her taking on that job. And granted, I don't think most people have a problem with that part. The majority of Witcher fans love, or at least like, the Witcheress ending from Witcher 3, and I'll keep this vague, but Ciri's story in the books ends with her riding off into the sunset after saying that the world surely has a
Spoilers, by the way.
Need for a Witcher girl like her. Now, it's more of an honorary title in the books, whereas she actually takes on the profession in the games, but being a Witcher, either in spirit or literally, is part of her character. There's no issue there. Where things get interesting, though, is the idea that Ciri, as a 20-something adult who is already far more exceptional...
She looks more American to me in The Witcher 3 than Polish. She doesn't have these big face bones like you see with this Polish girl later today.
...than your average Witcher, has now decided, as of Witcher 4, to go through with the actual trial, the full Witcher mutations. Now, I will say there are a few quote-unquote problems with this I've seen pointed out that aren't really problems, at least lore-wise. For one, it's suspected by Triss in the books that the process of creating new Witchers was no longer fully...
They want to mutate the child, subject her to the trial of grasses and change, but they don't know how to do it. Also, the trial of grasses may be evolved in the future, like they found new ways for it to be more successful on everybody and things like that, because this can happen, evolution happens all the time. So maybe that's the case. That goes for Ciri becoming a Witcher, she'll have more chances to become one.
...remembered by the Kaer Morhen Witchers. If that's the case, how could Ciri do it, people say? Well, in that very same passage, it's also heavily implied that if Triss or Yen were given a bit of time in the Witcher's laboratory, where the Witchers still have all of the supplies to do the trial, that either of them would be able to figure out the process easily enough. I mean, in Witcher 3, Yennefer figures out and conducts part of the trial on Uma, and more importantly, the main reason the trial is quote-unquote forgotten is because when Kaer Morhen was attacked before the books, the mages who were helping Witchers with the mutation process died. By that time, Witchers were becoming unnecessary anyway. The games don't sell this point very well, but in the books there aren't many monsters left in the world, so creating new Witchers was pointless as there wasn't even enough work to go around for the existing Witchers. It's also worth mentioning that in the newest Witcher book from 2024, as of making
maybe that argument goes against Ciri becoming a Witcher.
This video, it's not available in English yet, but in the newest novel, it's also revealed that another reason Witcher stopped doing the trial was not because it was truly forgotten, but instead...
Think about this, and this is another strong argument for Ciri becoming a Witcher. So when she's like 30 in the new Witcher 4 trailer, Geralt is like around 60 or more than 50 something, 54, 60, and Yennefer the same, so they cannot protect her anymore, so they need to make her one. They are not as skilled anymore because they are aging, So the best thing is to train her so she can protect herself, or in case they get attacked by many monsters, they can more easy protect each other, Yennefer, Geralt, and Ciri. That's a strong argument that can make Geralt and Yennefer like help Ciri become a Witcher.
Because the Witcher mutations, aka their physical supplies, were becoming less stable over time, and trial survival rates were actually dropping from the already low 30 to 40%. You do have to wonder if CDPR knew about that little bit of lore while writing Witcher 4. I mean, they have met up with Sapkowski recently, so maybe, but it doesn't really matter. Point is, the Trial of the Grasses being rediscovered, even if dangerous, is very believable, and that's not even to mention that there are several other Witcher schools out there, all with their own fortresses and trial knowledge, which is another possibility if Ciri isn't able to get help at the familiar Kaer Morhen. That's a really good segue, though, because another problem I've seen people mention is this idea that Geralt would never let Ciri undertake the trial.
Yeah, he'll let her all the time, I think.
To this I say, if you've been saying that,
when he's aging.
Please replay The Witcher 3. The entire point of Witcher 3's main...
Because there's nobody to help her anymore, or help her in a very strong manner, I mean. Protect her.
Quest and the choices that define your ending is Geralt coming to terms with the fact that Ciri is going to and needs to make her own choices, whether Geralt likes them or not. If Ciri in The Witcher 4 decides she definitely wants to undertake the trial, then she isn't going to let someone else convince her otherwise, even Geralt. Now,
Yeah,
I will say I don't
she's so rebellious.
think he would approve of the decision unless there's some really good reason, like, I don't know, Ciri developing a terminal illness and undertaking the trial as a last...
Yeah, that can be the case. Maybe get poisoned and should not have any other choices.
Or to make her immune to disease like Witchers are, but ultimately it's not Geralt's choice, or Yennefer's choice, or anyone's but Ciri's. As a reminder, Ciri is already 24 by the time of Blood and Wine, and of course is even older in Witcher 4.
Yeah, around 30 maybe, so Geralt is around 60 or more.
Really, I think the biggest pressure on Witcher 4 story-wise is not justifying how Ciri survived the trial, or how the trial was rediscovered. I mean, this is Ciri we're talking about. She has elder blood flowing through her veins, she is exceptional. No, what I think Witcher 4 really needs to justify is why Ciri would even want to go through the trial. Why someone who is already so extraordinary would put...
Yeah, they should make it a good story if they make her a Witcher. At least give like really strong arguments, maybe that I also gave in the stream.
Themselves through a process so dangerous even for ideal candidates, aka male children. Sure, CDPR could just take an easy path and say, I don't know, that Ciri discovered a new, safer process or something, but I don't think, or at least I'd hope they wouldn't go there. Personally, I will say that...
Why not? Because evolution happens all the time, like I said. In all things, they will discover like new things to do it, or new ways to do it, like that are more safe, or more herbs to give her to be more protected during the trial. I don't know.
Just thinking on it myself, I am in love with the idea that Ciri going down this path is her trying to run away from her destiny, from the prophecy that dominated her life throughout the books and Witcher 3. If you haven't read the books, or don't remember the small amount Witcher 3 tells you, well, to keep it short, Ciri, Ciri's daughter, or even Ciri's granddaughter, different characters have different interpretations, are prophesized to, well, to do a bunch of different things. To rule the world, to save the Unshades from extinction, in Witcher 3 to stop a big magic snowball because CDPR ran out of time when writing the final act of the game, whatever. The point is, Ciri's elder blood and the potential of it makes her of constant interest to people in power, or people who want power.
Yeah.
Someone always wants something from her. They usually want to have full control over her, and she spent her entire life running away from her supposed destiny, which she hates. Now, that said, we don't see Ciri use her elder blood powers at all in the trailer, her teleportation, any of that, and I really wonder if in Witcher 4, whether Ciri's decision to fully commit to being a Witcher by undergoing the mutations is her attempt at escaping her destiny. Not just for herself necessarily, although maybe her powers are affected by the Trial of the Grasses, but also because she doesn't want to put the burden of being constantly pursued and used on her potential daughter, or her granddaughter, or...
Yeah, that's a strong argument. It can also happen if she thinks about her children, like become sterile.
Her granddaughter's granddaughter, because it's never going to...
So she doesn't make children anymore. With the same fate like she had, she thinks about them like running away from people all the time, not having a fixed home and stuff like that.
Stop as long as her elder bloodline continues. If you don't remember...
Yeah, most of the arguments go for her becoming a Witcher.
Going through the trial of the grasses through the Witcher mutations leaves a person sterile, unable to have children. And that, trying to escape her destiny and the burden her bloodline brings, that being part of the motivation behind Ciri deciding to go through with the mutations, well, in my opinion, that is a very dark, very interesting prospect for Ciri's character. In the trailer, we even see the Bauk, the monster she fights, which preys on fear and insecurities, tells Ciri that fate cannot be changed, that she can't change anything, which seems to really make her angry. And I hope Witcher 4 explores the dark side of Ciri we don't see in Witcher 3 really at all. In the books, Ciri has a darkness in her that would shock people who only know her from Witcher 3, and I would love to see Witcher 4 confront that darkness. Anyway, if you can't tell, I'm very excited at the possibilities here. I mean, I haven't even touched upon the fact that Ciri is using magic in the new trailer, which she gives up in the books, but I will say that I believe that if CDPR think they have a strong enough story to tell to justify a new trilogy with Ciri, that they also have a good foundation for how that story begins. That said, I think that's all for me today. If you enjoyed this lore, fact-focused video and want to see more like it, consider leaving a like as it really helps my content get out there. And if you want to see more...
Let's see, the next article, The Witcher 4 reveals why Ciri's protagonist and not Geralt. The Witcher 4 made its grand debut at the Game Awards. One of the biggest aspects of the reveal was that Ciri would take over as Ciri's protagonist from Geralt, as he was as the first of the new trilogy set after The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It makes a lot of sense for Ciri to be the one stepping into the starring role, especially if you ended up going with one of the most popular endings to The Witcher 3. I don't know if she's the first of a new trilogy. She'll go like maybe in the second, like in The Witcher 5, she'll be even worse, like 14 years old or something like that, and then the third one she'll be like 50. So imagine how old Geralt will be. So yeah, maybe Geralt by this point and Yennefer, they are not even in the games. I think in a new interview with IGN, executive producer Mitrega and game director Bob provided some insights on the decision for Ciri to take the lead, with Mitrega saying that Ciri was the very organic, logical choice. It was always about her, starting from Saga. When you read it in the book, she's an amazing layered character, and of course as a protagonist we say goodbye to Geralt, previously Mitrega said. So this is a continuation, I guess, for all of us. It's like she was meant to be. That was always her. Kalemba said that because Ciri is younger than Geralt, players will have a bit more freedom in defining her character as the series moves forward. That will be cool. Making like more choices, customizing her more than we could with Geralt, as opposed to Geralt, who was pretty much defined from the outset. And this also frees up developers to explore other aspects of the character as well. She's actually about to become the Witcher, Kalemba said. She's about to actually form her own codex, but on her own terms. The way she actually deals with the monsters, the way she deals with quests and the adventures, is her own unique way. And also I think that she gives more room to be able to tell different stories here and there. Of course we want to give the opportunity for the player to explore more nuance, because this is what we do, but she deserves that. Yeah, I agree. As for potential backlash, and this is I think good for everybody if we can customize her more from the choices we make. And as for any potential backlash from the choice of Ciri as Ciri's protagonist, Mitrega and Kalemba said this was always the way they were planning to go, citing conversations they had 9 years ago about who would be next in line. There was an intention behind this choice, Kalemba said. It was far from roulette. It wasn't random, I mean. I remember we had discussions 9 years ago. We were talking about who's next. The very, very instant answer was Ciri. There are many reasons behind that. Yeah, I agree. They went with the right choice because we are so familiar with her. We already played with her in The Witcher 3. Maybe that was some foreshadowing maybe. I think that's the right word. I'm not a native, but I think they tried to make us get more familiar with her so we can connect The Witcher 3 and The Witcher 4 easier. I mean, that's what I mean. We're already mentioning a few, but she really deserves a stage, and we want players to really experience her story because she has so much to tell, so much to prove. The amount of challenges that are in front of her give us so much amazing energy and fuel to create an epic saga that we had no choice but to go with it. We all felt that this is the way. I believe this is a super right choice. Right now there's no release date for Witcher 4. We'll keep you posted as we know more. Yeah, I agree. We can connect everything easier and have the same vibes when we go into The Witcher 4. We go easier. That's what they try to do. So let's also check this. Ciri is a real Witcher now. The Witcher 4 thoughts. This is a Polish girl, and if you look close to her, she has a really bony face. I don't know how to say it. She's not ugly at all. And Ciri in The Witcher 4 cinematic looks more like her than The Witcher 3 Ciri. So she looks more Polish. That's why I said she looks more Polish. Ciri, like and subscribe, which I already did.
Past week has been definitely if you're a Witcher fan, then this past week has been definitely crazy for you, with The Witcher 4 being revealed to us at the Game Awards. And it's definitely got loads of people talking, with very different takes being thrown around. So before we get any further in this video, hi, hello, my name is Vera, and I am a Witcher fan. I've grown up with The Witcher. I am Polish, so I was able to read the books in its original language many times, and it's truly the most important series in my life. And that also really...
That's cool, being able to read in the original language. I think some information gets lost in the translation.
Really influences how I approach the video games. If you're here looking for commentary on the mechanics or on the gameplay, I'm not the best channel for that. Personally, I would recommend Luke Stevens. He's my absolute favorite. And I also adore Mr. Matty Plays. So I would go to them for that. What I come to these games for is the story and the characters, because they mean so much to me. If you want to know my full thoughts on all the books and adaptations, do watch my ranking video because I give more context there. But flat out, The Witcher 3 is my favorite part of The Witcher. To me, the books and the games have a symbiotic relationship where both elevate each other, and I don't think I would love them as much should the other not exist. So going into The Witcher 4, that is the number one thing that I'll be looking for.
Yeah, the same with me, because The Witcher 3, like when you read the books, you want to play more The Witcher 3, and then when you play with The Witcher 3, you want to get more information, to understand more the lore from the books. That makes sense.
For the character integrity, for an interesting story that respects the source material. There's definitely loads to talk about, so I'm going to go in order of things as they were presented to us. We start off by seeing two characters being prepared for something. One is a girl that's being prepared for a ritual. She is being bathed, and I think that it's so fun that they opened this up with the bathing, because as we all know, Geralt in his bathtub is super iconic, so it made me happy we got this. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but I'm glad it's there. Also, something that jumped out at me was that the graphics were absolutely gorgeous. For a second, I wasn't sure if it was live action, but yeah, I was really astounded by the graphics. And this girl's preparation is paralleled with the Witcher preparation before they go on a monster hunt. And eagle-eyed viewers would know immediately who our new protagonist is if you look at the sword that is being used.
The same, it gets us more familiar with the new game. Puts the same vibe, like connects the same vibe from The Witcher 3 and from the books to The Witcher 4.
Because it is the sword that we can give to Ciri.
It's great that they started with two characters we knew already from The Witcher 3.
In the Witcher-esque ending of The Witcher 3. And by the way, just total side note, the proper thing to have inscribed on the sword is okay, that's the correct one in my opinion. Another thing that jumped out at me was the voiceover and how reminiscent it was of something that Geralt would say to Ciri. In general, I think that them showcasing a father-daughter bond was very intentional, because Geralt is
of course
arguably the most important person in Ciri's life, definitely the most influential person. And I think that showcasing a father-daughter relationship in this preview was super intentional, because it reminds us once again of Ciri's past. And it shows why she would want to get involved in this situation. Also, something that I absolutely loved.
Those traditional clothing, they look so good. I love the combination between white and red.
In this sequence, especially when the girl steps out and walks out of the hut, is all the Slavic details. It truly felt like home to me. From the vianek, which is like the flower crown, to the colorful details, even the huts. This reminded me especially of regions like Zakopane or Podhale, which are the southern regions of Poland.
They look exactly like in real life, or really close. Love it. Also, Polish women, they are really beautiful.
And which have the mountains and the snow, and I just loved it.
That's
and
really
in The
beautiful.
Witcher, I think the atmosphere is super important to its identity.
Of course, it makes the games unique in this medieval age saturated medieval age niche.
as
Fantasy medieval age, better said.
a Polish fantasy. For example, one of my biggest problems with The Witcher's Netflix, of which I have many, was the fact that they, in my opinion, betrayed the Slavic identity of the source material. Because
I don't think so. I disagree here. There are some scenes where you don't feel maybe like in a Polish or European, let's say, country, because I live in Europe too. But there are many scenes when you get the village vibe, castle vibe, winter too. When there's this scene with the boar man, I forgot his name. This castle in the snow, this village in the snow. I think it respects the atmosphere of the Witcher universe most of the times, I guess. I don't know if all the times, but most of the times, yeah.
because in my opinion,
Well, she knows best because she's Polish. She knows how it looks right there, but I know how Europe looks like, living in Europe and visiting so many places in Europe.
ended up looking as a generic fantasy that had no visual identity that distinguished it from the other ones.
Yeah, I don't feel like that.
Whereas The Witcher, as adapted by
What do you guys think?
the Projekt, has always had that. Then, when we are outside, a man notices a Witcher with the two swords on the back. And the man says,
Witcher? Whose coin did he take?
and another guy comes forward and says,
Nay, you can't. 'Tis tradition. Chosen she is. By the god.
to which we get the reveal that our new main character is going to be Ciri, with her response,
No! You chose her.
first. What do I think about the fact that Ciri is our new main character? Look, the
And if you look closely, she has a really bone face, like this Polish girl. Like, I think it's authentic, and I think The Witcher 4. That's why I think The Witcher 4 Ciri looks more like a Polish woman, and these girls that she showed in the video, than The Witcher 3. Witcher 3 Ciri.
is since the Projekt was insistent that they want to do a sequel, and not just a sequel, but a sequel to the main storyline of The Witcher 3, of like the entire Witcher saga, the only character that they could continue that story with is Ciri. Sorry, flat out, there's no other character that could continue it. Like, I could see maybe an argument for doing a sequel
If they want to keep the same vibes, I think Ciri is the only choice.
with Lambert and Kira. It wouldn't be a continuation of the main series, though. It just wouldn't. It would be a totally new thing with familiar characters to continue our main core story.
Yeah, exactly what I said. That's my point too.
It would be a continuation with Ciri. Personally, this wasn't my first choice because I really loved the send-off for Geralt, Yen, and Ciri at the end of The Witcher 3. If you don't know, in the books, there's this thing called Aetherna's prophecy. It's open-ended, and that is seen as quite a controversial
I'll go a bit forward because that's massive spoilers for me, and I'm still playing the game. I don't reach the end.
choice because Sapkowski literally starts random plot threads in the last 100 pages, and you're like, why are you doing this? But the point is that the story is supposed to live on. I digress. What the video game company decided to do is they picked up those plot threads and game by game,
Yeah, maybe he's writing more books in the future, so he wants to keep it open-ended.
they tied them off until they got to The Witcher 3, where they took the biggest plot thread, which was Aeterna's prophecy, and they retconned it a little bit and said, no, this is happening now, and they give us a conclusion and a fulfillment to the prophecy. Because of that, and because I was very satisfied with the work that they did there, I kind of didn't want the new Witcher game to follow any of our main characters. I kind of wanted a prequel way in the past, perhaps exploring the golden age of Witchers, though that would have divorced the studio from any source material pretty much in the game, in the books. And also I think the games shine the most when they pay homage to the books and build on what is already written there. And so because of that, it makes sense to me that they wanted to do a sequel. And the only character that they could have done the sequel with, as I already said, was Ciri. That being out of the way, I also want to highlight this encounter as one that proves to me that they understand Ciri's personality, because this entire encounter is Ciri's personality to a core. Ciri and Geralt are very different in terms of their temperament. The thing with Geralt is I think he's the perfect RPG character, because yes, even though we have all the books that mostly are from his perspective, he has this codex of non-intervention. And because of that, he really likes to think with his mind, weigh different options, get to the bottom of things before acting. And I think that that really suits
Yeah, he's really thoughtful, and she's more emotional because she's a woman.
a video game, because
His nature.
It allows us, the player, to really think things through. So if Geralt is more logical and more mellow, I'd say Ciri is the opposite, to say the least. She is ruled by her emotions, by her heart. She has a very strong feeling of what is right and what isn't right. And yes, she is younger. She doesn't have her codex developed, as
Exactly what I said.
the game makers keep repeating. I think she is a less malleable character for a video game. So I'm curious how her
More emotional choices incoming.
her more fiery, quick to act,
But that's great. I like to customize her more through choices we make.
passionate personality is going to translate as someone that we roleplay, because I love the fact in the games that most of the choices that we are presented with as Geralt are choices that he could realistically make based on his character in the previous games and the books. With Ciri, just because of who she is, I think that there's less variety of choices that she could believably make. So that is something that I'll really be paying attention to going forward. But from the interviews, the more I watch them, the more I get reassured that the game makers do understand who she is. And this interaction is a perfect example of it. When the person in the village asks her, whose coin did you take? She doesn't respond. And you could interpret it, I think, as her taking coin from the father, but at the same time, that's not confirmed. And
Yeah, I think the father paid her to sell her daughter from the other villages trying to sacrifice her. That's a good point. That's a really smart point.
I don't think there's enough evidence to say that she did. It would make sense
Yep.
for her to be like, what's happening here is wrong. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to fix it all. Because
And that too, trying to do justice.
that's what who Ciri is. She sees an injustice and she can't stand to the side. She has no thinking of like the consequences of related to like what will happen if she jumps in, and she does jump in and it ends poorly, spoiler for the trailer. But her biting back at the villagers and being so snarky about it is very much in character for her. And so when I saw that, I was like, that's my girl. Yes, that's exactly who she is in the books, in the games. And this is also when we get revealed that she has the mutated Witcher eyes, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So then we see the girl go into the woods, and we have this amazing shot of the mists going up to her.
And also observe how this is almost nighttime, talking about the eyes later.
And this, spinning angle as we zoom into
It's
the
really
girl,
dark
and
in
it gives
here.
us this sense of unease. And I think that the atmosphere building is so good,
Yeah.
and the score as well, perfect. It really took me back to when we had to read in school about pagan Poland before it was christened by Mieszko I, which was our not first king, but like the father of the first king. And then Ciri appears and tells the girl that she should save herself and that she should go back to the village. We get a zoom in on Ciri's medallion, and initially I still thought that it was the cat medallion, because in the books and in the games she has a cat medallion. But I was watching an interview with Sebastian Kalemba, who is the head of the Witcher 4 team, and he said that this was the Lynx school medallion. So that is something original that they're making up, and he said that they're not going to reveal yet what's up with that, because it's core to the story of the game and to the new lore that they are writing. And
Oh, okay. So they try to separate a bit from the books, I think, with this Link School.
so I'm going to refrain from making judgments until I have more information. The thing that I noticed at this point in the trailer was something in my gut just kind of didn't respond well to this new Ciri. And I find it hard to pinpoint what exactly it is. There are a few things. For example, I know it's super superficial, but Ciri's green eyes are so important.
Yep.
Green is her and her family's color. Her wide green eyes are like a symbol of her naivety. And I mean, I guess she clearly is losing that as she's getting older.
Yeah, but at the same time we have to take into consideration what I said earlier. You can see in the trailer is almost nighttime, and we can see her bright green eyes in nighttime, so of course they look darker. That makes sense, but we will see how she looks like in a daytime setting, maybe in the game, and in the final version of the game.
So maybe it is fitting that, you know, her green eyes go away as well, but it is a tie back to her family, and Sintra and her family are so important to her because at this point she doesn't have any of them anymore, and so they're like a tie back to her heritage for her, you know, and she's so passionate about it. Another thing that I noticed was, of course, the change of the voice actress. Joe Wyatt played her in The Witcher 3, and I thought Joe Wyatt's performance was perfect. I truly thought it was perfect. I don't know why the voice actress changed. I think the voice actress, the new one, is fine. She sounds older, she sounds more...
Yeah, she fits the atmosphere, but I think the best thing was to keep the same voice actress, because that actress is grown too since 2015. Maybe she sounds a bit different too right now, and she maybe can make a different, more older accent like this one we have right now in the English trailer.
Hardened, and her performance of like the grunting and like the fight scene was really, really good. So I'm not complaining at all, just, you know, I do have a sentimental value attached to Joe Wyatt. I did see in a comment section that they kept the same voice actress for the Polish version, and so I went and I watched the Polish version of the trailer.
That's so cool.
And when I heard the same voice actress that played her in...
Let's check the Polish version really quick. YouTube to see if it's the same actress. Which for Polish trailer? What? Oh, here was my stream. Here's my stream. Okay.
Biegiem! Do ojca! Już!
She kinda sounds similar, the Witcher 3 actress, but she's more grown up voice, I guess, right now. And she had, so her voice changed a bit too. Okay, 3, Ciri.
So, once I was...
The first roadside, take her there. Pay for a month in advance, carve do not disturb into the room door, and
she sounds similar, more
that.
grown up. So yeah, it might be the same actress. That's so cool, interesting to know.
In the Polish version of The Witcher 3, in this scene, it felt like Ciri again to me, and so I think maybe the reaction wouldn't have been as strong for the English version if we still had the same voice actress, because hearing my Ciri again in Polish it just activated that fatherly instinct that I got from playing as Geralt of Rivia. Because, like, I mean, up until this point, she was...
Maybe if we play the Polish version, we get this Ciri, the old Ciri voice. That'll be kind of a great Easter egg.
Our daughter, you know, like our little girl, like we've seen her grow up. It quieted down my fears a little bit. There's also been some discussion about the character model itself, that she doesn't look as good as she did in The Witcher 3. She looks definitely different, but I think a big part of it is the way this trailer has been.
I think The Witcher 3 Ciri looks way more like a fantasy setting, medieval fantasy setting Ciri. And The Witcher 4 looks more of a Polish traditional woman.
And man, I'll be the first one to say that lighting plays a huge factor in how...
So it's better, The Witcher 4 series is better.
How you appear. And also, usually these first cinematics that we get, the characters do look different than their final result.
Yeah, of course.
Now, I do know that the previous cinematics were done by an external company, and that this one is being done in-house. But they just started production like 6 months ago. This isn't even the beginning of the marketing campaign for the game, and like the character models are going to change throughout the production cycle.
Yeah, of course.
And so I don't think it is fair to judge anything.
We can give a final argument when we get the game, let's say.
As of this point, and I don't think she looks ugly. I think she looks fine. She doesn't look like she did in The Witcher 3, but it's not as bad as people are saying it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, look at this. Which one looks more Polish? The Witcher 3 version or the Witcher 4 version? Compared to this woman that is hosting this video.
I found that
which is Polish.
This
Hello on
YouTube
Facebook.
short that showed a side-by-side of similar angles of Ciri in The Witcher 3 and Ciri in the trailer. And when you see that, it becomes more clear that the model that we see right now...
And which one looks more fantasy, medieval fantasy like?
The Witcher 4 trailer is just an older version of the Witcher 3 Ciri that we saw, at least in my opinion. And so I'm going to hold my judgment until we get closer to a release date and the marketing campaign actually starts going. Then Ciri enters the cave and she starts hearing all these voices, and so she then takes her...
Look how dark is this setting, how we can see her eyes. Cannot see her bright green eyes. Really, really good here.
Witcher. Even the game producers have confirmed that she has taken the trial of the grasses. That caused a lot of stress to me. Here are my issues. Because in the lore, female witchers are not a thing. In my opinion, that's fine. Men can't become sorceresses.
They are not a thing, but it's not impossible for them to become. Because my point is, they never try to make someone like powerful like Ciri, a witcher. So there's a big possibility it can happen if they try that for the first time with now evolved Trial of Grasses.
Whatever. But so when I saw that Ciri is a full-on witcher now, I guess they could explain it away by, oh, Ciri has elder blood, and because she has elder blood, she's able to withstand the
Yeah, if they do a good story, they can explain it like that, I guess.
mutations. Or they might be like, oh, well, yes, well,
What do you think?
the School of the Lynx has like a new special version of the Trial of the Grasses that women can undergo. To me,
The important thing is that they make the story great on how she became a witcher.
those are lazy explanations. However, if the story that they provide is good, and Projekt hasn't failed me yet, you know. So if the story that they give me is a good story, then I won't complain that they had to retcon a few things or get a creative way around to tell a good story. But then number two is, I'm pretty sure that after the sacking of Kaer Morhen, you can't really make more witchers, right? Or at least in Kaer Morhen. So maybe she did the trial
Yeah, only in Kaer Morhen.
in a different school, which is why I'm kind of saying, like, maybe the School of the Lynx has like a special new trial of the grasses or whatever. Don't know. But even bypassing the fact that, like, how did she go through the trial of the grasses practically? In what world would Geralt and Yen be like, yes, do the trial of the grasses?
In the world that they become older, when Geralt is over 60 and Yennefer the same, the best thing is to let Ciri become a witcher so she can protect herself and protect each other if they have a big number of monsters attacking them, like Geralt, Yennefer and Ciri at the same time, protecting each other. So that, I think, makes a lot of sense.
Which only 3 in 10 boys survive. Sorry. What? Like, okay, and it's not even that, like, Geralt and Yen wouldn't allow her, and that, you know, she's an adult now, she can do whatever she wants. No. Realistically, Ciri would have gone to Geralt and Yen and be like, Mom, Dad, should I go through the trial of the grasses? I really want to, like, become a real witcher, like you, Geralt. And Geralt and Yen would be like, absolutely not. You.
No, I don't agree here. I don't agree. I think they understand they become older, and they will agree with this. What do you think? Am I right or not?
You are great. You are literally the most powerful being on the continent, minus like some vampires and, you know, the unseen elder and stuff like that. You are so powerful.
Yeah, but becoming more powerful will not hurt, I think. Will never hurt, because there are more powerful monsters, I guess. That what they encountered, maybe. I don't know for sure, but maybe.
You're the lady of space and time. You can travel between dimensions. You can, like, you're so powerful. You do not need to take the mutations. Just super dangerous. We don't want to.
But being able to protect yourself at all times is a strong point. Why they would let her become a witcher.
Lose you just after getting you back. No, you don't need to do the
maybe against humans too, if there are not too many monsters around anymore. When she's like 30 years old, when Ciri's like 30.
mutations. You can be a witcher in name. That's fine. Don't do it. And Ciri, because she trusts them so much, Ciri would have been like, well, if Geralt and Yen, and especially Geralt, says that this is a bad idea, I'm not going to do it. I can be a witcheress in name with my Lady of Space and Time powers.
I don't think so. Even if they say do not become a witcher, she will become a witcher. I mean, she's really rebellious.
Which are more powerful than witcher powers anyway. Yeah, so, like, even bypassing the practical part, how would the conversation with Geralt and Yen even go? Because, also, there's no way that you wouldn't discuss this.
The conversation will go like this: I don't care what you think, I'll still become a witcher.
With Yen or Geralt. Like, this isn't something that she would just go rogue on and do by herself. I do see on the flip side, like, it is called The Witcher. They want to do a sequel. the only like character to continue the main storyline with is Ciri, and the game can't just be Lady of Space and Time. Witchers do the signs, they do the potions. It's a huge part of the gameplay mechanics, and
also story-wise, there's more like intrigue, controversy of her becoming a Witcher. So I think they'll do that. It's really good story-wise. That's what I mean.
And they can't just erase all of that. So I get it. All I want is a good explanation. Because if the explanation is okay, and more importantly,
That's what matters at the end of the day.
if the story that they give us is really good, I can look past a retcon. Those are my thoughts on Ciri being a Witcher. I'm really gonna give grace to the company, to the Projekt, because I trust them. They love the source material. They really love the source material. And even Sebastian Kalemba, the head of the project, keeps saying that, you know, the lore, both of the games and the books, is important to them. And that they don't want to go against it, at least too much, because they really respect their fans. So I'm willing to see where they are going to take this. But then let's talk about the actual fight itself. Once again, the instrumentation is amazing.
Yep.
I really like to see Ciri struggle a bit because she's less experienced than Geralt.
Yeah.
Though on the other hand, it is kind of surprising because once again, she's literally the most powerful being on the continent.
Well, struggling and not being overpowered is great, I think. As being overpowered is not that much fun.
At least magically speaking. And the fight choreography itself is
Don't you think?
amazing. Like, I really, really love it. And the thing that I love most about it are the callbacks to the fact that she is Geralt's daughter, that she was trained by Geralt. For example, when she uses the chain, that is very reminiscent of how Geralt uses the chain in the opening to The Witcher 1 with the fight with the Striga. Oh my
That's
gosh,
a really
that
cool
made
Easter
me
egg.
so happy. Or it's very memed upon in the books that Geralt loves to pirouette, especially in Blood of Elves, which is the book where at the start Geralt trains Ciri to be a Witcher. Oh my gosh, it's all this all the time. Pirouette, pirouette, pirouette.
Yeah, pirouettes are good because they dodge at the same time and then attack. So they do two things at the same time. They have high agility and it's really hard for monsters to hit them. So I think that she learned pirouettes is really good.
Seeing Ciri do a pirouette the way Geralt intended made me very happy. Then, after the fight, Ciri collects the trophy, she goes back to the village, and what she finds is that the girl from the start was killed not by the monster, but by the village people. And when the town says that, oh, but she was chosen by the gods, Ciri says, no, there are no gods here, only monsters. And this is a very obvious callback, I think, to the iconic
This can be an evil option. We can do with her.
and legendary killing monsters
Kill everybody in the village after this event.
trailer for The Witcher 3, where Geralt finishes off by, you know, someone asks him, what are you doing? And Geralt responds,
Killing monsters.
which again just ties back to the fact that
That's really badass.
she is her father's daughter. But also the way that she says this is different because, again, Geralt says it in a very mellow, badass sort of way, killing monsters, you know? Whereas she is doing it out of rage. She is pissed off.
To go to the gods.
Gods? There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
Once again, being ruled by her emotions. And also, it is the inverse because where in the Killing Monsters trailer, Geralt is able to handle it all and save the girl. Here, because Ciri is inexperienced, because she doesn't fully understand the ways of the world, she wasn't able to foresee the fact that if she just sent the girl back to her village, the girl would die. And I think this showcases that, yes, even though Ciri is older, she still has a lot of learning.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like we can try to do. It will be cool if we try to do like really good options, pick really good options for the story, but they turn out bad. Some of them. That will be really cool to show how grim the world really is of The Witcher.
To do. Now, just to give some final thoughts, at the end of the day, I haven't been this excited for any game like in ages. I'm going to play it day one. I can't wait. I love Ciri. I can't wait to see an older version of Geralt. I don't know, hopefully there's like a side quest where she and Geralt can go on a monster hunt.
Hopefully he has lots of scars and things like that, so we can see he had more battles with monsters He's more battle scarred.
Hopefully, because, you know, a lot of people
That will be badass.
just know her from The Witcher 3. We'll be able to see some flashback sequences to help build up her character. Maybe even something from The Tower of the Swallow, which is my favorite book in the Witcher series, and that one is very Ciri-centric. Or even flashbacks to her and Geralt in Kaer Morhen more than we just had in the Witcher 3 tutorial. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it. I know some people just don't want to play as a female main character, to which, by the way, I say, what about Tomb Raider? But that's besides the point. But that's okay. If you don't want to play the game because of that, that's fine. Like, I can't lie.
I don't really care. If the story is good, then the story is good. The game is good. If the gameplay is good also. I don't care if I play male or female.
I know that gender is like a huge, like...
I think it's good that we get a new perspective with a female Witcher interacting with the world and in new ways. I mean, with NPCs and stuff like that, with men of the world and with women. Hopefully no DEI stuff included, because I don't like that. But yeah.
Statistics of my previous Witchers are anything to go by, then most of the people that are going to be buying this game are going to be men. You know, I get it if they would just prefer to keep playing as Geralt, though that would, in my
I only care for the perspective, for a new perspective related to the story and everyone in it.
Opinion, betray the integrity and the game. If you're worried about romance
He's
options
retired.
and that that's not true, because in the books Ciri has a multi-book relationship with a woman, and so I assume that romance-wise there's probably going to be a male love interest and a female love interest, and then you'll be able to decide between the two. But again, I feel like it's really too early to say anything, because again, the marketing campaign hasn't even started, and we really don't know too much about what's going to be in this game at this point in time.
Exactly.
So please, please, please just be respectful. And just at the end of the day, I'm so happy to be back in the Witcher world and to see it faithfully portrayed, at least atmospherically, because we haven't had that in so long. Also, just to dispel anything, there's a lot of very like clickbaity, rage baity videos that are floating around that it's like, is this inspired by the hit Netflix show? Blah, blah, blah. Don't believe that, because if you actually watch those interviews...
I don't think so. They do their own thing.
It's the interviewer that asks, like, are there any elements of the hit Netflix show that are going to...
They don't even follow the books that much anymore, I think.
...influence the video game. And the producers give a very diplomatic answer of, yeah, we acknowledge the show, but, you know, we are doing our own thing. They are doing our own thing. That's great. And honestly, that makes me very happy. So I just hope that continues. Don't fall for the rage baity titles. So all in all, for now, I remain cautiously optimistic. I really loved almost everything about this trailer. There's the one thing, though, that puzzles me, and it's how is Ciri a Witcher? But again, as long as I get a good explanation, or at least an okay explanation, but it justifies her continuing the story.
Yeah, that's all that matters in conclusion. The gameplay and the story at the end of the day.
Past the completion of Ithlin's prophecy, I'll be so happy. I won't complain. So that's all I think about the trailer. Do let me know what you think in the comment section, but please be nice and kind and respectful. And just a reminder for new people, this is a book channel, not a gaming channel. The Witcher is the most important fantasy series in my life. I grew up with it. So yes, I do feature it occasionally, but that is not the focus of the channel. Just a heads up. So with all that being said, thank you so much for
subscribe
watching,
and like
and I'll see you next time.
this girl. So Geralt real age finally established in the new Witcher book. I want to read this one too. Ever since the very first publication of The Witcher, Geralt of Rivia's exact age has never been established fully. It's always been known that he's somewhat old, but due to his mutations, he ages slower. Now in the newest Witcher book, Crossroads of the Crow, Andrei Sapkowski finally revealed Geralt's actual age and birth year. Geralt is much younger than most think. Andrei Sapkowski's new book, Crossroads of the Crows, has been out for a few weeks, and while we won't be spoiling anything major for it for now, we can talk about Geralt's age. For example, Crossroads of the Crow officially takes place in the year 1229. Geralt is 18 years old in it, making Geralt's birth year 1211. This means by the end of the book series, in 1268, Geralt is only 57 years old. He's only a few years older than Queen Calanthe and was around 40 when Ciri was born. So if he was 40 when Ciri was born and she's around 30 now, that means Geralt is around 70. So he's becoming older, exactly what I said. Really hard to protect her. His skills go down, I guess. In comparison, the Netflix version of the timeline, Geralt was born in 1160, making him 106 years old by the end of season 3. Oh my god. He's also older than Yennefer in the show, who was born in 1192 in the Netflix version as opposed to 1174 like in the books. So by the end, in the show they will be like 108 and 76, while in the books they are 57 and 94. So yeah, they become a lot older and less skilled, so the best choice for them is let Ciri become a witcher maybe. I think most of the arguments go for Ciri becoming a witcher. Also, in the first few hours of CD Projekt Red The Witcher 3, Vesemir says that Geralt is nearly a century old, with the game taking place in 1272, so it turns out that the canon Geralt is not naturally old, but rather at the back end of what we'd call middle-aged. The Witcher Season 4 is in post-production for a 2025 release, and of course in the Witcher book, Crossroads of the Crow is available in Poland. Okay,